Hare Krishna. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarne. Srila Prabhupada Ki. I'm happy
Recording in progress.
I'm happy to be with you today. Yesterday we discussed the pastime of Krishna stealing the garments of the unmarried gopis. Today we will have the last part of the pastime, and then we will start the chapter 23, the wives of the ritualistic Brahmans. So, before we start reading, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Seva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat. Nastvesia Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavatu Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Ata Gopai Parivrito Bhagavan Devaki Sutta Vrindavana Gato Duram Charayanga Sahagacham. I will read the first verse. Sometime later, Lord Krishna, the son of Devaki, surrounded by his cowherd friends and accompanied by his elder brother Balaram, went a good distance away from Vrindavana herding cows. This is factually the beginning of the next chapter's pastime. Krishna blessing the Brahmans' wives, and he starts by appreciating the trees of Vrindavana. So we read the purport. Having described how Krishna stole the garments of the young gopis, Sukadeva Goswami now begins introducing the description of Lord Krishna blessing upon the wives of the ritualistic Brahmans. So now I will try to get the commentaries of Jiva Goswami on this verse on the screen. Just I first have to open it. There it comes. Just a moment. Okay, it's here. The 29. Jiva Goswami. I try to get it on the screen, then you can also read it. Share. Here it is. Little small, make it bigger, and then move it. Jiva Goswami. Having described the mercy given to the young girls, now Sukadeva begins to speak of mercy given to the wives of the Brahmins performing sacrifice, since there is similarity in the subject matter. The word Ata indicates the beginning of another pastime. It was summer, whereas the Katyayani vow was in the winter. So it's at a different time. Since the hot summer sun is later described. He was with Balaram, whereas on the day of stealing the gopis' garments, Balaram was not present. he was surrounded by his friends. This is mentioned here because the boys play an important role in the following pastime. That he is called the son of Devaki for the previous reason. He went far from Vraj. First he went to Kamyavan with many hills. There he decorated himself with minerals. This will be described later. Then he went to the south of Vraj and came to the Yamuna in order to get drinking water for the cows, who were thirsty because of the heat, in order to fetch lunch from Vraj, and in order to give mercy to the Brahmans' wives by asking them for food. So this is the end of this chapter, and the next chapter we are again in the summer seasons. Before it was Hemanta, the beginning of the winter, that's the summer seasons. So we are going through all the seasons, and now we are back in the summer. So later on, Shiva Goswami will point out that Sukadev Goswami is telling all these pastimes, the pastime of the stealing of the garments of the unmarried gopis, and then the giving the mercy to the wives of the ritualistic Brahmans, then the worship of Govardhan, lifting of Govardhan, but they are not in chronological order. And Shiva Goswami said, Sukadev Goswami did not mention them in chronological order due to the influence of prema. He was too much in ecstasy, and he did not put them in chronological order. That is what Jiva Goswami said. Okay, now we will go back to text 30. And first, go back to the database. Yep. So can someone read text 30 and 31 and purport?
When the sun's heat became intense, Lord Krishna saw that the trees were acting as umbrellas by shading him, and thus he spoke as follows to his boyfriends. Lord Krishna said, O Stoka Krishna and Amshu, O Shridama, Subala and Arjun, O Vishala, Vrishabha, Ojatasvi, Devaprastha and Varuthapa. Just see these greatly fortunate trees whose lives are completely dedicated to the benefit of others. Even while tolerating the wind, rain, heat and snow, they protect us from these elements. Purport. Lord Krishna was preparing to bestow his mercy on the wives of the hard-hearted ritualistic Brahmins. And in these verses, the Lord indicates that even trees who are dedicated to the welfare of others are superior to the Brahmanas who are not. Certainly, the members of the Krishna consciousness movement should soberly study this point. Thank you.
Thank you. So, in the purport it is said the trees are better than those Brahmins because the trees are serving Krishna, and the ritualistic Brahmins, they are not. So we will read now the purpose of Srila Vishwanath Thakur, Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami. That moment. We go back to the commentaries. So here we have the commentary of Jiva Goswami. 7 verses describe how they wandered in Vrindavana. The trees acted as umbrellas for himself. This is text 30, yeah? Yeah. So the trees acted as umbrellas not only for himself, but for his friends also. Seeing the trees which were growing in Vraj, he spoke. Next. So, Sanatana Goswami. 7 verses describe how they wandered far off. Seeing the trees acting as umbrellas for himself, he spoke to the cowards, since the trees generally gave benefit to all the cowards in the forest, and he wanted to describe to the boys the trees' good qualities as friends. Or he saw the trees serving as umbrellas for all Krishna's people and cows in Vraj. Or he saw the trees serving as umbrellas for the people of Vraj, who were none different from himself by great affection. Now, here we have the purport of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. I make it bigger. Okay. So, Vishwanath. With the intention of showing that being born as a generous tree is a worthy birth for a gentleman, whereas being born as a miserly Brahmin is useless, Krishna began praising the trees, calling out his friends. 8 coward boys, beginning with Stoka Krishna, protected Krishna on the 8 sides, and Devaprastha and Varutapa, functioning as overseer of the arrangement, and Lookout served as the upper and lower directions. The 11th person, Bhadrasena, the leader of the coward boys, paying attention to all the details, was situated at a distance. Krishna observed that the trees tolerated rain and other inconvenience, but sheltered others from the rain and heat. Jiva Goswami. In order to criticize the Brahmans, to whom he will request for their disrespect, Krishna calls his friends and praises the trees. He calls the boys in the order that he sees them. Some say the 10 boys surrounding him represent the 10 directions which gathered around him out of prema. The first 8 are in the 8 direction. Devaprastha holds an umbrella above him, and Varutapa cleans the path in front of him. They thus represent up and down directions. The 11th boy was Bhadrasena, who was the commander-in-chief of the boys. He was Balaram's attendant and was situated at a distance at that time. The trees were greatly fortunate. Some trees tolerated the wind, but do not protect others. Other trees, being merciful and affectionate, protect others, but do not tolerate the wind themselves. They require some help. These trees, however, do not require help and help others. Thus they are fortunate. Sanatana Goswami reflects more or less the same points. But then I want to go with you to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Back to the database here. There we go to Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's here. The Adi Lila. Chapter 9. See if we find it. The desire tree of devotional service. Lord Chaitanya himself wanted to be a tree in 45. Although I am acting as a gardener, I also want to be the tree, for thus I can bestow benefit upon all. So can someone read this purport?
Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most benevolent personality in human society because his only desire is to make people happy. His Sankirtana movement is especially meant for the purpose of making people happy. He wanted to become the tree himself because a tree is said to be the most benevolent living entity. In the following verse, which is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:22-33, Krishna himself highly praises the existence of a tree.
We'll read the next verse. So can someone else read this translation?
Just see how these trees are maintaining every living entity. Their birth is successful. Their behavior is just like that of great personalities. For anyone who asks anything from a tree never goes away disappointed.
Okay.
According to
please. Okay.
According to the Vedic civilization, Kshatriyas are considered to be great personalities because if anyone goes to a Kshatriya king to ask for charity, the king will never refuse. The trees are compared to those noble Kshatriyas because everyone derives all kinds of benefits from them. Some people take fruit, others take flowers, others take leaves, others take twigs, and others even cut the tree, and yet the tree gives to everyone without hesitation.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily cutting trees without consideration is another example of human debauchery. The paper industry cuts many hundreds and thousands of trees for its mills, and with the paper so much rubbish literature is published for the whimsical satisfaction of human society. Unfortunately, although these industrialists are now happy in this life by dint of their industrial development, they do not know that they will incur the responsibility for killing these living entities who are in the form of trees. And this verse quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:22-33 was spoken by Lord Krishna to his friends when he was taking rest underneath a tree. After his pastime of stealing the clothes of the gopis, Vashtapahara and Lila, by quoting this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us that we should be tolerant like trees, and also beneficial like trees, which gives everything to the needy persons who come underneath them. A needy person may derive many advantages from trees and also from many animals, but in modern civilization people have become so ungrateful that they exploit the trees and the animals and kill them. These are some of the sinful activities of modern civilization.
I remember it. Oh, there's an echo. It must have been 2007 or 2008 or a little later in Mayapur, at the place where the big temple is constructed now. There was before a park. And at the time they started the construction, the devotees had to cut some of the trees. I remember they held a seminary and they asked forgiveness to the tree, they embraced the tree before cutting them. So yeah, for devotees, this is a very sensible issue, cutting trees. Text 47, can someone read text 47?
The descendants of a tree, the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, were very glad to receive this order directly from the Lord.
Thank you. Don't read the purport. Go read 48 now.
40. The fruit of love of God is so delicious that wherever a devotee distributes it, those who relish the fruit anywhere in the world immediately become intoxicated.
Yeah, if you can read this purport, it's
well
done. Yeah.
Here, the wonderful fruit of love of Godhead distributed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described. We have practical experience that anyone who accepts these fruits and sincerely tastes it immediately becomes mad after it and gives up all his bad habits, being intoxicated by Chaitanya Prabhu's gift, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The statements of Chaitanya Charitamrita are so practical that anyone can test them. As far as we are concerned, we are most confident of the success of the distribution of the great fruit of love of Godhead through the medium of chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So the fruit of the tree is the Hare Krishna mantra. And now we can read 2 verses more, 49 and 50. Yeah.
The fruit of love of God distributed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is such a great intoxicant that anyone who eats it, filling his belly, immediately becomes maddened by it, and automatically he chants, dances, laughs, and enjoys.
Yeah, and 50.
When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great gardener, sees that people are chanting, dancing, and laughing, and that some of them are rolling on the floor and some are making loud humming sounds, he smiles with great pleasure.
Great. And the purport?
This attitude of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very important for persons engaged in the Hare Krishna movement of Krishna consciousness. In every center of our institution, ISKCON, we have arranged for a law feast every Sunday. And when we actually see people come to our center, chant, dance, take prasadam, become jubilant and purchase books, we know that certainly Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always present in such transcendental activities and he is very pleased and satisfied. Therefore, the members of ISKCON must increase this movement more and more according to the principles that we are presently trying to execute. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, thus being pleased, will smilingly glance upon them, bestowing his favor, and the movement will be successful.
Great. Now the last verse, 51.
Yes, ma'am. The great gardener, Lord Chaitanya, personally eats this fruit, and as a result, he constantly remains mad, as if helpless and bewildered.
Yeah, the purport.
It is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to act himself and teach the people. He says, Apani Achari Bhakti Karilo Prachara. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 4.41. One must first act himself and then teach. This is the function of a real teacher. Unless one is able to understand the philosophy that he speaks, it will not be effective. Therefore, one should not only understand the philosophy of the Chaitanya cult, but also implement it practically in one's life. While chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sometimes fainted and remained unconscious for many hours. He says in his Sikshashtaka 7, Yugayitam Nimishena Taksusha Pravasayitam Sunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Grahenam. Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. This is the perfectional stage of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and eating the fruit of love of Godhead, as exhibited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One should not artificially imitate this stage, but if one is serious and sincerely follows the regulative principles and chants the Hare Krishna mantra, the time will come when these symptoms will appear. Tears will fill his eyes. He will be unable to chant the Mahamantra distinctly, and his heart will throb in ecstasy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that one should not imitate this, but a devotee should long for the day to come when such symptoms of trance will automatically appear in his body.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Should long for that day. So we are going back to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 22. And now we will read text 33 and 34. Someone can read text 33 and 34.
Hare Krishna.
Yep, please.
Just sit Just see how these trees are maintaining every living entity. Their birth is successful. Their behavior is just like that of a great personalities. For anyone who asks anything from a tree, never goes away disappointed. Purport. This translation is quoted from Srila Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 9, text 46.
Yeah, that we have been reading. And then text 34.
These trees fulfill one's desire with their leaves, flowers, and fruits, their shade, roots, bark, and wood, and also with their fragrance, sap, ashes, pulp, and shoots.
Yes,
Thank
so
you.
so now I commenting on this verse 34. I will read from Brihad Bhagavatamrita. There it is said, in the land of Braj, any tree with any of its parts can fulfill all the desires of anyone who asks. So any part of a tree can fulfill all desires. A piece of bark, a twig from the tree, they can fulfill all your desires. Yet the Lord does not always displays opulences in Vraj, because that may obstruct the enjoyment of his pastimes. It is a simple example of how opulent is the land of Vraj. Even the trees there can satisfy all desires with a simple fruit, even a single flower or any part of their bodies. In other words, a person who approaches those trees has his life ambitions fulfilled. If even the trees in Braj display such wonderful powers, how could the opulences be kept secret? How can Braj be a suitable place for the Supreme to enjoy his pastimes as an ordinary person? Braj is suitable because the Lord reveals these opulences only in select instances for his purposes. If there is no special need for them, he keeps them hidden. Thus the opulences of Godhead are only occasionally seen in Braj. The Lord's charming pastimes as the darling of the cowards are always visibly expanding. So the next verse, 35, that here, is a verse often quoted by Srila Prabhupada. It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the others with his life, wealth, intelligence, and work. This is translation from Srila Prabhupada, Chaitanya Charitamrita. But in the purport, in the 6th canto, chapter 10, text 10, Prabhupada writes, in order to help others, we have to be strong too. First help yourself before helping others. So there is a lecture of Srila Prabhupada. Somebody should dedicate his life for this great movement. So these Americans and European boys and some Indians have dedicated their lives for the spreading of Krishna consciousness. So according to our Goswami's program, everyone should sacrifice. If you cannot give your wealth, you give. If you cannot give your life, you give your wealth. Then, if someone can read text 36, 37 till 38 till the end.
Thus moving around the trees, whose branches were bent low by their abundance of twigs, fruits, flowers, and leaves, Lord Krishna came to the Yamuna river. The cowherd boys let the cows drink the clear, cool, and wholesome water of the Yamuna. O King Parikshit, the cowherd boys themselves also drank the sweet water to their full satisfaction. Thus, O king, the cowherd boys began herding the animals in a lux- luxuriantly luxuriously way within a small forest along the Yamuna. But soon they became afflicted by hunger and approached Krishna and Balaram, spoke as follows.
Leisurely
Srila Jiva
waiting.
Goswami explains that the cowherd boys were concerned that Krishna would be hungry, and thus they finged that
Faint.
sorry
Faint.
finged their
Faint.
own hunger so that Krishna and Balram would make suitable arrangements to eat. Thank you.
So it means that cowboys were thinking Krishna and Balaram must be all hungry. So they did like they were hungry, but for the sake of Krishna Balaram. That now we will go into the next chapter. The next chapter, because this chapter we discussed yesterday and today, I could not really prepare. I had my preparations from the previous presentation, but because I was informed just 2 days before the class that I had to include this chapter. But now we will start with chapter 23. And chapter 23, I've been, for your sake, I've been studying for the last 2 months. And I went to all the commentaries of Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sridhar Swami, and Prabhupada's Krishna book, and I compiled it in one document which is still to be edited. But what we will do is I will ask you to read the verses. I will say the verse number and I will ask, please, the next read. And I will read the purpose and the commentary in summary, because there are so many commentaries. If we would have to read them all, we would have 5 times more time than is allotted to us. But I made the summaries to give them the nectar of all what they said. So I will stop the screen here and I will go to my presentation here and I will start reading it. So it is The Brahman's Wives Blessed. That's the title of this is the title of the chapter. First, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur summarizes the pastime in his commentary on the first verse of chapter 23 of the 9th canto in a few sentences. He says, it describes how the cowherd boys went to the Brahmans performing sacrifice to ask for food and how they were disrespected. But when the cowherd boys went to the wives of the Brahmans, they gained their affection. After this, the Brahmans repented. So that is a summary of the whole chapter. Of course, there's many points to make. So the pastime starts with the cowherd boys feeling hungry. Can someone read text 1? A translation only.
The cowherd boy said, O Rama, Rama, mighty armed one, O Krishna, chastiser of the wicked, we are being harassed by hunger and you should do something about it.
Yeah, so they address Krishna and Balaram, and they are using logic. They say that hunger is a man's worst enemy. So, but you can destroy our hunger. Then if you can destroy your hunger, then you will be successful in conquering this enemy. So Jiva Goswami, he states that in reality this is just a play. At that time, Lord Krishna, the personality, at that time, can someone read text 2?
Sukadeva Goswami said, thus entreated by the cowherd boys, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the son of Devaki, replied as follows, desiring to please certain of his devotees who were Brahmanas' wives.
Yeah. So in other words, at that time, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he desired to please certain of his devotees who were the Brahmans' wives. Yes. So Jiva Goswami states that Krishna wanted to give mercy to the wives of the Brahmins, but he arranged that the boys first asked the husbands in order to show the glory of their wives. In addition, Jiva Goswami raises the question of how the Brahmins' wives' devotion for Krishna arose. That he concludes that Lord Krishna, the Lord of the universe, showing his sweetness and power in the universe, caused devotion to arise in the soft-hearted women. Can someone read text 3?
Lord Krishna said, please go to the sacrifice arena where a group of Brahmanas learned in the Vedic injunctions are now performing the Ungivasa sacrifice to gain promotion to heaven.
Thank you. So, in other words, Lord Krishna advised the cowherd boys, you're going back from this group of ritualistic Brahmins. They are learned in the Angira sacrifice, a ritualistic sacrifice meant to gain promotion to the heavenly planets. So according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Lord Krishna sent them to the Brahmins to show that he does not give mercy to those who have no bhakti. That although endowed with austerity, knowledge and religious principles, so conversely, he gives mercy to those who have bhakti, even those who are lacking knowledge and austerity. But Jiva Goswami points out that these Brahmanas are chanting the Vedas, but they do not know the meaning of the Vedas, as they are performing a sacrifice for elevation to Svarga. So what's the meaning of the Vedas? Vedasa sarvarame vedya vedanta ket vedavete vacham. The meaning of the Vedas is to know Krishna. Can someone read text 4, please?
When you go there, my dear coward boys, simply request some food. Declare to them the name of my elder brother, the Supreme Lord Balaram, and also my name, and explain that you have been sent by us.
So Lord Krishna is encouraging the boyfriends to request charity. Although they might feel embarrassed to approach such respectable Brahmins, Lord Krishna told them to mention the holy names of God, Balaram and Krishna. By calling out the holy names, they must be woken from the deep slumber of ignorance. And Krishna said, you call Balaram's name first. He's a Kshatriya. And he might give charity out of respect. So devotees should not beg, but since you have been sent by me and Balaram, there is no fault. By calling out the holy names, the fault will be destroyed. Can someone read text 5, please?
Hare Krishna. Thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cowherd boys went there and submitted their request. They stood before the Brahmanas with palms joined in supplications and then fell flat on the ground to offer respect. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Although they fell on the ground, they appeared more effulgent than the Brahmins, who were living in the same Vraj. So Jiva Goswami comments that they are described as acting with proper conduct to reveal the bad conduct of the Brahmins. Sanatana Goswami adds that Krishna told them to do that because these coward boys were the best of devotees. It was natural to them to show devotion to the Brahmins and chant the holy names. Text 6, please.
The cowherd boys said, O earthly gods, please hear us. We cowherd boys are executing the order of Krishna and we have been sent here by Balaram. We wish all good for you. Please acknowledge our arrival. Hare Krishna.
So, they mention the name of Krishna first, because Krishna is the son of King Nanda, and he has more power than Balaram. But being sent by Balaram, they said they would give him the first rice received. So Jiva Goswami points out that they addressed the Brahmins with devotion. They mentioned Krishna's names because their main attraction was for him. But forgetting the order Krishna gave them, namely that Balaram was the main sender, they covered their mistake and mentioned Balaram as the sender. Text 7, please.
Lord Ram and Lord Achyut are tending their cows not far from here. They are hungry and want you to give them some of your food. Therefore, O Brahmanas, O best of the knowers of religion, if you have faith, please give some food to them. Hare Krishna.
So, a Brahman is expected to know the Vedic injunction. Udimam patram. Anyone who is hungry is a fit candidate for receiving food in charity. As the Brahmanas did not respond. The coward boys doubted their generosity and addressed them with a slight trace of sarcasm as dharma vittama, best knowers of religion. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, calling them the best knowers of dharma actually means that they are completely ignorant of dharma. Moreover, if they remain silent when they hear that Krishna and Balaram are hungry and that the whole universe melts with love on hearing their names, posing themselves as Tvija, Brahmins, means that they are just born of two parents. That Jiva Goswami states that the coward boys anticipate questions which may arise in the Brahmins' minds. They may wonder why you have come here so far. As such, they state that Krishna and Balaram are tired from going far in herding the cows. Or they may think, why did Krishna and Balaram not come personally? Thus the coward boys implied that the cows could not be protected without the two boys. The Brahmins may wonder where Krishna and Balaram are now. Therefore they said, not far away. The coward boys glorified their lordship by calling them Ram, one who gives pleasure to all people, and Asyuta, one who never lacks any good qualities. Thus they glorified Krishna and Balaram. So the coward boys were greatly learned and not aware of the details of the sacrifice performed by these Brahmins. They were familiar with various sacrifices, such as the animal sacrifice, and that will appear from text 8. Can someone read text 8?
Except during the interval between the initiation of the performer of a sacrifice and the actual sacrifice of the animal, O most pure Brahmanas, it is not contaminating for even the initiated to partake of food, at least in sacrifices other than Shautramani.
Yeah. So they pointed out that eating is contaminating from the time of initiation until the animal sacrifice, but not otherwise. In the Sautramani sacrifices, eating is forbidden, but not in other sacrifices. Thus, they should not refrain from giving food in charity. Now, Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, although the companions of Krishna and Balaram were simply cowherd boys, they were in a position to dictate even to high-class Brahmins engaged in Vedic rituals of sacrifice. But the Smarta Brahmins, who were simply sacrificial-minded, could not understand the dictation of transcendental devotees of the Lord. They could not even appreciate the begging of the Supreme Lord Krishna and Balaram. They did not care for them, and they refused to speak to the boys. So, despite being highly elevated in the knowledge of Vedic sacrificial rites, all such non-devotee Brahmins, although they think themselves very highly elevated, are ignorant, foolish persons. All their activities are childish because they do not know the purpose of the Vedas, as it is explained in Bhagavad Gita, which is to understand Krishna. A lesson to be learned from this passage is that we should not judge by externals. A devotee can be more advanced. They heard all requests from Krishna and Balaram and did not care for them. They did not even speak to the boys. So the Brahmins' activities were compared to planting seeds. Sometimes the seed lands on a fertile soil and sometimes on a stone, sometimes in other places such as water. So these Brahmins are compared to sowing seed on a stone, and the Brahmins' wives are like fertile land. That what attracts Krishna to the field of our heart? Humility and a burning desire to attain Krishna. Our heart is like a lotus and Krishna is like the lotus flower. We need to make the ground fertile. What is the first thing you do when you prepare to plant a seed? You prepare the ground, which means removing all material desires. The heart of the Brahmins were like stone, and the creeper of the voice service could not grow. The cowherd boys were simple cowherd boys, but they were not unaware of Vedic culture. The boys informed the Brahmins about requests from Krishna and Balaram, but the Brahmins did not care for them. They did not even speak to the boys. A lesson to be learned is that we should not judge by externals. A simple devotee can be more advanced than he appears at first. So, here now, we are entering this pastime, but I would like to ask, so we spoke about the qualities of trees, and then we see the attitude of these Brahmins. The Brahmins were not like trees. Any comments, questions? We can have a little discussion before we have a break.
Maharaj, it's very interesting. You put a good twist in it. About the about this incident is about showing. One of the things that is showing is the Brahmanas did not have the bhakti, and they were not prepared. Though they are doing this sacrifice, they don't have the right knowledge, and they don't have the necessary purification to engage in bhakti.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then one more thing you added very interestingly is you have to have the preparation of the soil. Is basically one has to be free from material desires to develop bhakti.
Yeah. Because
very interesting.
What sacrifice did they do? What was the purpose of the sacrifice? Is to go to the heavenly planets. So that's a big material desire also. Thank you.
Yes.
Ramananda
Thank you.
Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna Maharaj. So just wanted to ask one question from the purport
Yep.
text 7. So Maharaj, so as you mentioned here, what is the meaning of this born of two parents?
Born of two parents, yeah. So the question is here, a Brahman is called VIHE, twice born. So the first birth is from the biological parents. The second birth is the initiation by the spiritual master. And so the verse says they are called VIHE, but they had only one birth, the birth of their parents. They were never initiated into bhakti, the real initiation. That did not take place in their heart. It's a little sarcasm, yeah. But okay. Anything else? Good. Then we can have a pause now. I think it's 6:25 nearly, right? So 6:25. We can till 6:35 we will have a pause and then go deeper in this chapter. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
Hare Krishna. We will continue. Can someone read text 9, please? Text 9.
Hare Krishna. The Brahmanas heard this supplication from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yet they refused to pay heed. Indeed, they were full of petty desires and entangled in elaborate rituals. Though presuming themselves advanced in Vedic learning, they were actually inexperienced fools.
Yeah. So they were entangled in elaborate rituals aimed at elevation to heaven. So they refused to pay heed to the supplication from Krishna and Balaram. They were striving for material advancement, and by that they could not recognize nor hear the message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Their priorities full insignificant desires, and it demonstrates that they lacked intelligence and were full of pride. So that's one of the purposes of this chapter. Krishna will break the pride of these ritualistic Brahmins. And the next chapter is the worship of Govardhan. There he will break the pride of Indra and the demigods. So Yamaraj instructs his messengers, the Yamadutas in Srimad Bhagavatam, that bewildered by the illusory energy, Maya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sages like Yajnavalkya and Jaimini and other compilers of religious scriptures cannot understand the secret, the confidential religious system taught by the 12 Madhyans. They cannot grasp the transcendental value of performing devotional service or chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. They are attracted to ritualistic ceremonies that yield only temporary benefits such as elevation to Svargaloka for material enjoyment. They are not drawn to the Sankirtan movement, no interest. Instead, they remain attached to dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. They forget the real purpose of studying the Vedas, which is to approach the lotus feet of Krishna, as declared in Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Vedasa sarverameva vidya. So, when Srila Prabhupada performed the installation of Krishna Balaram in the temple in Vrindavan, he invited Smarta Brahmins to perform 11 jahyas, while at the same time our devotees chanted the holy names, did kirtan. He explained that these sacrifices were for those interested in attaining heaven through pious activities and Vedic rituals. But the Sankirtan movement is meant for pure devotees who desire only to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these ritualistic sacrifices are a form of show. The true substance is the chanting of the holy name. Yet Srila Prabhupada indicated that if we had performed only kirtan, the people of Vrindavan might not have taken the installation seriously. Sankirtan is sufficient, but we worship the deity to keep ourselves clean, both in body and mind. In his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 10.23.9 on text 9, Sridhar Swami explains that there is an Ayurvedic medicine for treating fever called Trikatu, consisting of 3 bitter ingredients: neem, kalamika or kalamic, and shirayita. That if the doctor does not know that the higher medicine, Amrita Jivani, when he does not know the higher medicine, which is Amrita Jivana, then he will give you these 2 better medicines, karma and jnana, compared to these bitter medicines. But the holy name is the medicine that revives the dead from the dead person, Amrita Jivani. If the doctor does not know about higher medicine, Amrita Jivani, he will prescribe only 3 bitter remedies. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, they are compared to these 3 bitter medicines. But the holy name is a true medicine that revives the dead, Amrita Jivani, the nectar of life. So the Brahmins saw Lord Krishna as ordinary human beings because of their perverted intelligence, born of false ego with the mortal body. Thus they did not show him proper respect. Can someone read text 10 and 11?
Maharaj, you said that these 3 bitter medicines are compared to karma, jnana and?
Karma and jnana. Yeah, it are 3 medicines, but it's only karma and jnana. These are 2. 3 is compared to 2. That, yes. The text 10:11.
Although the ingredients of sacrificial performance, the place, time, particular paraphernalia, mantras, rituals, priest, fires, demigods, performer, offering, and the yet unseen beneficial results are all simply aspects of his opulences. The Brahmanas saw Lord Krishna as an ordinary human because of their perverted intelligence. They fail to recognize that he is the supreme absolute truth, the directly manifest personality of Godhead, whom the material senses cannot ordinarily perceive. Thus, bewildered by their false identification with a mortal body, they did not show him proper respect.
So, no, it's not necessary. I'm including the purports in what I'm presenting. So, only the text. So, text 10:11 in summary says, they fail to understand that their sacrifices, the fire, the devatas and the sponsors are merely manifestations of the power of a part of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is beyond the perception of the material senses. So the Brahmins, being disrespectful due to their false identification, did not reply to the cowherd boys, not even with a simple yes or no. Seeing that Maharaj Pariksit was becoming angry upon hearing this, Sukadev Goswami said, O subduer of the enemies, Parantapa, if you had been there, even though they were the best of the Brahmins, you would have punished them like enemies. That's Sukadev Goswami. Now, can someone read text 12 and 13, only the translation?
When the Brahmanas failed to reply even with a simple yes or no, O chastiser of the enemy Parikshit, the cowherd boys returned disappointed to Krishna and Rama and reported this to them. Text 13. Hearing what had happened, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the Universe, simply laughed. Then he again addressed the cowherd boys, showing them the way men act in this world. Thank you.
So the boys returned to Krishna and Balaram and explained to them all what happened. And what was Krishna's reaction? He laughed. His laughing was indicating that it was not proper to show anger toward ignorant Brahmins, and that one who begs sometimes may be refused. However, one should not give up due to attachment to the results. Krishna, this is what the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. But then Krishna also laughed because he had asked for food playfully, therefore it was appropriate to laugh with attachment. Through this pastime, Lord Krishna wants to demonstrate that devotees are superior to those who are devoted merely to chanting the Vedas and performing sacrifices, yet who ultimately end up full of pride and suffering, not peace. Another reason for Krishna's laughter is given by Sanatana Goswami, who explains that the Lord did not consider the behavior of the Brahmins to be offensive, as they were bewildered by his Maya. Lord Krishna taught that when begging from the men proves unsuccessful, one should approach their wives instead. So Lord Krishna told the cowherd boys, and now someone can read text 14.
Lord Krishna said, Tell the wives of the Brahmanas that I have come here with Lord Sankarshan. They will certainly give you all the food you want, for they are most affectionate toward me, and indeed, with their intelligence, reside in me alone.
So, yes, so their intelligence was fixed. It did not stray from Krishna. These wives were always thinking of Krishna. The wives of the Brahmins, though physically remaining at home, had their minds residing in the Supreme Lord with affection. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Lord Krishna did not ask the cowherd boys to tell the wives of the Brahmins that he was hungry, as that would distress them very much. Simply out of affection for Lord Krishna, they would give all the food requested to them. Following is a conversation between the cowherd boys and Krishna, as presented by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So Krishna says, Just tell the wives of the Brahmins that we are coming. You do not have to tell them that we are hungry, for if they hear that we are hungry, they will become miserable, thinking that we are suffering. But then the cowherd boy said, But how will they give us food if we do not tell them that you are hungry? Then Krishna replied, Seeing you are hungry, they will give for us. coward boys, but their husbands will prevent them. Krishna replied, they have great affection for me. They will not consider the obstruction of their husbands, for their minds dwell in me. Maya usita tiya. They live in their husbands' houses in body only. Only their body was there. Can someone read text 15?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
The coward boys then went to the house where the Brahmanas' wives were staying. There the boys saw those chaste ladies sitting nicely decorated with fine ornaments. Bowing down to the bowing, da- bowing down to the Brahmanas' ladies, the boys addressed them in all humility. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So Jiva Goswami points out that they came at an opportune time, the right time, as the wives were seated peacefully, being absorbed in talks about the Lord with each other. Yeah. So this is Machita Machita Prana, Bodhyantas Parashparam, Bodhyanta Parashparam. They were speaking about Krishna, absorbed in Krishna with each other. So they were ornamented with ecstatic symptoms by absorption in prema for the Lord. They possessed all spiritual qualities arising from bhakti to the Lord. So in other words, Jiva Goswami points out they are spiritually advanced, they have bhakti. Someone can read text 16.
Maharaj, one question.
Yep.
So in this situation, like wife is more advanced, or it could be vice versa. So does the Brahmana get the benefit of wife's devotion?
Sure. Because if they associate with, they are associated, so yes. That, but the wives were, we will see at the end of this pastime, the wives will become the gurus of their husbands, and the husband will accept them as spiritual master. Because they could see, because that's later in the pastime. If when they came back from seeing Krishna, this ritualistic Brahmanas, they were seeing their wives, and they understood, they saw something was changed. Something changed. First, they were fearless, because they didn't care for the objection of their husband, they just went. The second thing is, they had no interest in their husbands anymore. They were detached. And so this husband saw that we are performing these rituals, attached to go to heaven, and we see our wives are more advanced than us. We were fools. We were acting for material benefit, but our wives are completely detached. We forgot the purpose of the Vedas, that the Supreme Personality of God had asked us personally to serve Him, and we neglected Him, and they became regretful. That we will see at the end of these pastimes. But yes, whoever is spiritually advanced should lead the other. Of course, you have the social rules, that is something else. But on the spiritual platform, the one who is more advanced leads the other. Like Sanatana Goswami first joined the Hare Krishna movement, and then Rupa Goswami came. So Rupa Goswami saw his elder brother always as his guru. That's interesting, this relationship. Anyway, more to say about that, and we will meet.
So in the current situation, our material like today,
yeah.
If one of the two, husband or wife, is more advanced and is so advanced, then will that advancement, like this advanced devotee, whoever it is, passes away? Then the second person, does the second person, like wife or husband, whoever that is, the one left behind, will they reap the benefit of the devotion of the one who departed?
Okay.
Or they have to do it on their own?
I get you. I get your point. So we can compare it to when our spiritual master passed away. Do we still get the benefit from his association? That yes, we remain connected if we continue following his instructions. We remain connected. And we are still connected with the spiritual master. Even after he passes away, as long as you follow his instructions. So that is the relationship with the guru, shiksha or diksha. And if the wife is more advanced, she will, by our example, instruct you. Not only by verbal instructions, also by living, by practicing, by being a living example. Therefore, for us also, Prabhupada was with us, and we have his whole pastime that he went through on this earth, and that's all in Prabhupada Lilamrita. So we can still be connected by Prabhupada and learn from Prabhupada by remembering his example. So a Vaishnava never dies. He keeps alive in his instruction and his example. And by that we can still in our mind associate with the person and get the benefit. So this is real benefit, eternal benefit. It's different from material benefit. That if we serve an advanced devotion in separation, we are still connected, we still get the benefit. That Prabhupada said, I keep on living in my books, my instructions are there. No, not only in instructions, also his life. That's my understanding, Ajahn Prabhu. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you, Bharat. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Then,
Maharaj,
yeah.
question. These Brahmanas were they had attachment for Krishna. What was their mood? What melo they had? Like which rasa?
They were factually they were factually materialists. So they were not yet on the platform of having a rasa with Krishna. But that will come. We see in the next chapter, they will start serve Krishna. But, Krishna will trick them. Because in the next chapter, they will prepare for the Indrajahya. But then Krishna will trick the Vrajavasis and said, you should worship Govardhan because this Indra is useless. This Indra has nothing to do with giving water. The clouds give water because of the mode of passion, and Indra doesn't control that. Anyway, Krishna makes a whole story to get the Vrajavasis understand you should worship Govardhan. And so these ritualistic Brahmins who are preparing the sacrifice for Indra will be engaged in the worship of Govardhan. And then that will help them. Then they have Dasyaras with Govardhan, so it will become better for them. But there's more to say about that, but I don't want to go ahead of the pastime here. We will see a few more things about these ritualistic Brahmins at the end. Okay? Someone read text 16.
Hare Krishna. The cowherd boy said, "Obeisances unto you, O wives of the learned Brahmanas, kindly hear our words. We had been sent here by Lord Krishna, who is passing by not far from here."
So they spoke with reverence and respected them as wives of Brahmins. He said, "We were sent by Krishna who attracts your hearts." So now the cowherd boys continue. Can someone read text 17?
He has come a long way with the cowherd boys and Lord Balaram, tending the cows. Now he is hungry, so some food should be given to him and his companions.
So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that when the wives of the Brahmins heard Krishna's name, they began to faint in bliss. Previously, the cowherd boys showed reverence, but seeing the wives' attraction for Krishna, they understood such reverence was not necessary. Shiva Goswami, this is a commentary of Shiva Goswami. And then Sanatana Goswami. The instruction of the Lord was to get rice only to relieve the hunger, but now they requested different kinds of food for all the cowherd boys. Sanatana Goswami said. And now can someone read text 18 and 19?
The wives of the Brahmanas were always eager to see Krishna, for their minds had been enchanted by the descriptions of him. Thus, as soon as they heard that he had come, they became very excited. Taking along in large vessels the 4 kinds of foods, full of fine tastes and aromas, all the ladies went forth to meet their beloved, just as rivers flow towards the sea.
Yeah. Can also read text 20 and 21.
Yes. Although their husbands, brothers, sons, and other relatives tried to forbid them from going, their hope of seeing Krishna, cultivated by extensive hearing of his transcendental qualities, won out. Along the river Yamuna, within a garden decorated with buds of Ashoka trees, they caught sight of him strolling along in the company of the cowherd boys and his elder brother Balaram.
So they were in a forest of Ashoka trees, beautiful flowers. Shiva Goswami comments that their relatives said, "Send the food to others, but do not go." The word Ashoka has another meaning, and it suggests that on seeing Krishna, all their sorrows vanished. And Sanatana Goswami states, they had developed strong hope or desire with a special bhav for Lord Krishna because of hearing about him for a long time. Their behavior is suitable for a person who has heard scriptures. So, how did they get their very great attraction to Krishna? Someone knows? How did they get attraction to Krishna? From whom did they hear about Krishna?
Maharaj, the ladies that would come to sell some things like the milk, and then maybe the gopis came. I don't know, but the vendors that would come, like the fruit vendor who would go to Krishna's village, she would pass by these. I'm just speculating.
No, it's a good speculation. It's not far. That they mainly heard from the Pulindas, the Aborigines. These were fruit ladies, yes. They were coming and selling things. Because these fruit ladies, this were the original residents of the forest. That before Krishna, Nanda Maharaj and so on moved from Gokul, they came to Vrindavan. But these aborigines, original residents, they were there. And these were forest people. They were living from the fruits of the forest. And they were collecting these fruits and selling them. So these fruit ladies, they were coming selling things. We have seen before in Krishna childhood pastimes, our fruit lady came with fruits, and Krishna had seen how Nanda Maharaj was and Mother Yasoda was barting with giving them some rice and as payment for the fruits. So Krishna took a little rice, was running to the fruit lady, and when all the rice went through his hand practically. But the fruit lady smiled and received only a few grains, but he gave him all the fruits. So that if these fruit ladies, they were collecting these fruits in the forest. But who is in the forest herding the cows? Krishna and Balaram. They saw every day Krishna and Balaram. Every day they came, because these Brahmans, these ritualistic Brahmans, they were not living in Vrindavan. They were living at the outskirts of Mathura, at the border with Vrindavan. And these forest ladies will come to them every day to get fruits, vegetables, and so on. And also, of course, residents of Vrindavan would come. They would also come, selling their milk and so on. And they would hear every day, they would speak about Krishna and Balaram. Every day. So that is how they became attached to hearing about Krishna, chanting about him, and attached to his transcendental qualities. Now we will have a description of Krishna. The wives of the Brahmins run all the food. And then text 22 gives a description of Krishna. Please, can someone read text 22?
His complexion was dark blue and his garment golden, wearing a peacock feather, colored minerals, strings of flower buds, and a garland of forest flowers and leaves. He was dressed just like a dramatic dancer. He rested one hand upon the shoulder of a friend and with the other twirled a lotus. Lilies graced his ears, and his hair hung down over his cheeks, and his lotus-like face was smiling.
So in the Bhagavatam there are two other verses which describes the beauty of Krishna. These verses, together with 3:2:23 of the Bhagavatam, a verse about Putana, who got the mercy of Krishna, are said to have attracted Sukadev Goswami after he left home, when he ran to the forest when he came out of the womb. So I read these verses, these two other verses. The second verse is 10:14:1, spoken by Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma said, "My dear Lord, you are the only worshipable Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore I offer my humble obeisances and prayers just to please you. O son of the king of the cowards, your transcendental body is dark blue like a new cloud. Your garment is brilliant like lightning. And the beauty of your face is enhanced by your gunja earrings and the peacock feather on your head. Wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves and equipped with a herding stick, a buffalo horn, and a flute, you stand beautifully with a morsel of food in your hand. So, wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue carnicara flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vajayanti garland. Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers, as he enters the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. So this from 10:21:5. And then you have this verse about Bhutan, which is verse 23. Someone can read this verse?
So, Maharaj, 23 of this chapter itself, right?
Yeah.
Okay. O ruler of men, for a long time those Brahmana ladies had heard about Krishna, their beloved, and his glories had become the constant ornament of their ears. Indeed, their minds were always absorbed in him. Through the apertures of the eyes, they now forced him to enter within their hearts, and then they embraced him within for a long time. In this way, they finally gave up the pain of separation from him, just as sages give up the anxiety of false ego by embracing their innermost consciousness.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's what happened. But I will read also this verse of Bhutan first. Before I discuss this, the little error here. That this verse is from the third canto. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of a mother to a she-demon, Putana? Although she was unfaithful and she prepared a deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this verse 10:23-22. That's the previous verse. It said this verse reveals the Krishna's inner mood, as he writes, to make known to them his own intentions by his gestures. He described as having his left arm on the shoulder of a friend, and his right hand he twirled a play lotus. By this he was telling them, with their love for him, that he accepted their lotus hearts in his hand and could give them bliss. It's very beautiful. So I repeat this verse 23 again. A ruler of men for a long time, those Brahman ladies had heard about Krishna, their beloved, and his glories, and had become the constant ornament of their ears. Indeed, their minds were absorbed in him. Through the apertures of their eyes, they now forced him to enter into their hearts. They embraced him within for a long time. They embraced him within for a long time. In this way, finally gave up the pain of separation of him, just as sages give up the false ego by embracing the innermost consciousness. That is very beautiful, poetic. That describes the deep attachment to Krishna in their mind, in their heart. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that their minds became absorbed by hearing many times of the excellent qualities of their beloved. Through the doors of their eyes they made him enter and lie upon the lotus bed of their hearts. And embracing him spontaneously, Suchiram, they decreased their suffering. By that embrace they fainted in bliss. They became relieved of the suffering that arose from absence of his touch, just as the functions of ego embrace the sleeping consciousness, become one with it, and become free from all suffering. Shiva Goswami states that the form of Krishna entered through their eyes as doors to the mind. So the eyes became doors to which Krishna came in. So in shyness they closed the doors of their eyes and clung to him in their heart's content. Thus they gave up the pain of not being able to touch him, not allowing the pain to return. It's a good lesson for us that how to deepen our Krishna consciousness. All we must do to be free from anxiety is to embrace our innermost consciousness, Krishna. Krishna is our innermost consciousness. So these ladies understood this, Pujam Prabhu said. In Krishna books, Srila Prabhupada explains a little more about this. I will read Krishna book now. Within themselves they began to embrace Krishna to their heart's content, and the distress of separation was mitigated immediately. They were just like great sages who by their advancement of knowledge merge into the existence of the Supreme. As a supersoul living in everyone's heart, Lord Krishna could understand their minds. They had come to him despite all the protests of their relatives, fathers, husbands and brothers, and despite all the duties of the household affairs. They came just to see him, who was their life and soul. They were exactly following Krishna's instruction in Bhagavad Gita. One should surrender to him, giving up all varieties of occupational and religious duties. He therefore began to speak to them, smiling very magnificently. It should be noted in this connection that when Krishna entered into the wives' hearts, and when they embraced him and felt the transcendental bliss of being merged with him, the Supreme Lord did not lose his identity. Nor did the individual wives lose theirs. The individuality of both the Lord and the wives remained. They felt oneness in existence. When a lover submits to his lover without any pinch of personal consideration, it's called oneness. Lord Chaitanya has taught us this feeling of oneness in his Sikshastikam. So Krishna may act freely, doing whatever he likes, but the devotee should always be in oneness or in agreement with his desires. That oneness was exhibited by the wives of the Brahmanas in their love for Krishna. So the merging that the devotees desire is to merge in service. That's what it means. The wives of the Brahmins display perfect love of Godhead. I have a comment now of Kavi Karnapuri here. So due to the absorption in thoughts of Krishna, they acted boldly, free from doubts and hesitation. Conquered by love, they lost control over their minds, while tasting the mellow of their relationship with the Lord. Having taken complete control of their senses, Krishna entered their hearts, came outside again and again and entered their hearts. They are full surrendered, and Krishna is also having a good time. With their eyes they are seeing him, and with their hearts they are embracing him. So, a moment, I get some disturbance here. Yeah. So Dhruva did not get that. Dhruva did not get that. He saw the Lord inside his meditation broke, and then saw him outside. So they got both, inside and outside simultaneously. Although Satisfied to see Krishna within their hearts, they moved closer to him upon opening their eyes. Talking Krishna through the apertures of their lotus eyes, they embraced him within their hearts. Melting in raptures of joy, they relinquished all fears and anxieties. With their caper-like hands, those fortunate ladies, they offered the fragrant flowers out of affection to worship their beloved. Krishna enchanted the minds of the Brahmins' wives by saturating them with spiritual bliss, and he completely removed the painful fire of separation. So after hearing so much about Krishna, they got to him and embraced him, which is what they wanted. Can someone read text 24?
Hare Krishna.
Please.
Lord Krishna, who witnesses the thoughts of all creatures, understood how those ladies had abandoned all worldly hopes and come there simply to see him. Thus he addressed them as follows, with a smile upon his face.
Yeah. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Lord Krishna, seeing the ladies stunned with the plates of food in their hands, began laughing and spoke. Shiva Goswami adds that his smile indicates his sweet cleverness. Can someone read text 25?
Hare Krishna.
Yep.
Lord, welcome, O most fortunate ladies. Please sit down and make yourself comfortable. What can I do for you? That you have come here to see me is most appropriate.
So, the commentary. Just as Krishna welcomed the gopis who came to dance with him at night, he similarly welcomed the Brahmins' wives, whose pure love for him was proved by their overcoming many hindrances to see the Lord. Since their husbands had tried to obstruct their loving service to Krishna, their rejection of their husband's order was not at all inappropriate. If the husband does not allow you to go to Krishna, then you are allowed not to listen to the husband. What Lord Krishna said here is more or less the same as what he said to the gopis when they came to meet him in rasa dance. But he also approved it. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:29-18 is to the gopis. Lord Krishna said, "O fortunate ladies, welcome. What may I do to please you? Is everything well in Vraj? Please tell me the reason for your coming here." Of course, Lord Krishna knew very well why the gopis had come, because he called them with the melodies of his flute. Sanatana Goswami comments that Krishna knew they came to be his servants, but he covers this, being embarrassed in public by the Brahman's wife's intense love. That text 26. Can someone read 26?
Certainly expert personalities who can see their own true interest render unmotivated and uninterrupted devotional service directly unto me, for I am most dear to the soul.
So Krishna informs us that all people who recognize their true self-interest, they take to devotional service. So we must recognize our true self-interest. If we don't know our own self-interest, what can we do for others? We must know first our own self-interest. So the Lord is Atma Priya, the real effect of love for everyone. Everyone's primary loving attraction, being a spiritual spark of Krishna, is constitutionally meant for Sri Krishna. The loving service should be a haituki without personal motive, and avyavahita, unobstructed by mental speculation. Lord Krishna instructs that since I'm constantly with you as Paramatma, it is not necessary to be anxious for my direct association. So ayahita refers to obstruction by four things that obstruct our devotional services: mental speculation, selfish desire, quirk of time, or quirk of time means not having enough time, and circumstance. These things will stop us of having nishta. When we come to the level of nishta, then our service is uninterrupted. This is without stop. Mental speculation that we are not accepting Krishna as he is, and we are absorbed in our own dream world. Selfish desire based on the body. Thinking that I cannot finish my rounds today. It's too late. Or I cannot go to the temple today. Or I cannot go to this late evening program today. The circumstance could be anything. I'm too old, I need sleep, etc. Other obstacles are described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kandambini. It includes too much sleeping, bad habits, material desires, indifference, distraction. These are obstacles to nishta, to loving devotional service. As long as we have these obstacles, we cannot run to Krishna like the wives of the Brahmanas. Nishta is the first level of pure devotional service. Of course, the Jahyapatnis here, they were beyond that level. You can be a pure devotee before that, if you have a haituki, if you are without personal, so if you have a haituki, so if you are without personal motive, then you can also be a pure devotee before nishta. So the topmost goal is to develop love for Krishna. Then you are also a pure devotee. From nishta onwards, you are completely absorbed in devotional service with body, mind and words. So these are three reasons why the Jahyapatnis had no physical relationship with Krishna. First, to keep the pastime perfect, otherwise there would be rasa bas, because Krishna has a relationship with the gopis. Second, to increase the eagerness of separation. And third, to increase their love for Krishna. So we will stop here and start tomorrow with text 27. Any comments or questions, please?
Hare Krishna Maharaji, Pranam, please accept my humble obeisances.
Thank
You were talking about compiling a document which contained commentaries and Krishna books. So we already have one of that document in which we have just like Veda base everything, like verse, translation, synonyms, Prabhupada, and followed by it is the commentaries and translation of the acharyas also, which was given to us by Sarvam Prabhuji, and he was teaching from that only. So I have posted the link for that in chat, and you can see if that helps out for you.
Yeah, that's good. Because I read all these commentaries, and what I'm presenting is the nectar from it. Because it's
No,
too
you were
much.
saying that
Yeah.
you were talking about compiling in a document, so that's why I was saying.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Good. Any other points? What do we learn from this pastime?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Madhurikanta.
As Madhusandra Gopi mentioned in the chat, that this Leela is a little bit similar with Kaliya wives. What can we actually see in this parallel between these two Leelas? Why are they similar?
Yeah, the Kaliya wives, they were devotees that and they tried to educate their husband but what are the similarities? Surely their devotion, and that the Kaliya Patnis, they come at the end of the pastime, they offer their obeisances to Krishna and ask him for the mercy of their husbands. That, but the difference is that certainly the Jahya Patnis, they are in the conjugal rasa. The Jahya Patnis, there is no indication. Well, the Kaliya Patnis, there is no indication they are in that higher or more intense rasa. They seem to be more as dasya rasa, but not in this higher rasa. That I didn't study that in detail, but there is certainly of course they were both devotees, but the parallel we find here is between the Jahya Patnis, the Brahmans' wives, and the gopis. And we will see further in that chapter the Jahya Patnis will see themselves as competitors of the gopis. We will hear about that later. That because Krishna will say, yeah, okay, you want to stay with me, but I'm a coward boy, and so as a coward boy, I have to associate with the coward girls. You are Brahmins, so I cannot associate with you. That's socially not acceptable. We will hear about that. Krishna will say that jokingly. But that's a very sweet point which comes later, because the Brahmins, they are wife of Brahmins, and a little further, Krishna will say, you go back home to your husbands, but they will start arguing with Krishna based on scripture. They will quote scripture. So they are very learned also. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, but we will hear much more about that tomorrow. That any other point? Yeah. At the end of your time.
Can I also ask another small question?
Yeah.
It was said here that these wives could not be stopped because of their strong love for Krishna.
Yeah.
But gopis were singing in the previous chapter that they were stopped by their husbands. Why it happened?
The gopis were stopped by their husband. Some of them were stopped, some not. Some tried to stop him, and some were really stopped. But they came in a special position. We will hear that also in this pastime of the Brahman's wife, because the Brahmins tried to stop them, but there was one of the Brahman's wives who could not go. They stopped them and they could not go. And what did she do? Because her desire was so great. She was in her svarup, in her spiritual body. So she said to her husband, you want this body? I give this body to you. She left her body, and in her spiritual body she went to Krishna. That we will hear also. And that there is a similar pastime with the gopis. Some gopis could not go, but that is a whole explanation, because you have different categories of gopis with somewhere Nitya Siddhya, somewhere Sadhana Siddhi, and that will be discussed in chapter 29 and further. Good. Thank you very much. Looking forward to see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Jai.